All right, now to an incredibly heartbreaking case, and it's shining a light on the flaws of our criminal justice system.
A young mother escaped an horrific and vicious attack only to be killed by her accused attacker a month later.
She was tortured and sexually assaulted the morning of June 2nd. Her boyfriend was arrested.
Then just 10 days later, he was given a $10,000 bond, which he posted last Friday. Within 2 days, police say he had killed the victim, his father, and stabbed his mother.
And all the while, the real issues are being ignored. Welcome to another installment of the Connecticut Gun Bench. Today's video is brought to you by P.A.N. Firearms, LLC. P.A.N. Firearms for your NRA certification and multifaceted gun training. You can reach us at 203-300-6343 or use our website at www.panfirearmsllc.com. As always, there'll be a link in the description box below. And if you like my content and like my channel, you can support me through the links in the description box below. As I said before, I'm working on new merchandising. It's gonna be really cool. I'm really getting my mind into that. So you will be the first to know when it comes available. It's gonna be some really cool stuff. But let's talk about this. Now, there's two stories I want to talk about. I've always said that we keep ignoring the real issues. And the real issue is not private gun ownership. The real issue is twofold. One, the lack of morality in this country, because we're just going screaming downhill, off the cliff when it comes to that. And two, most importantly, is that we have a justice system that is not taking care of business. I want to start with this one story here. And this is just two examples that I want to bring to you. But this first one was out of Denver, Colorado. Now, Denver, Colorado, and this happened, I believe, 2 days ago. There was a shooting at a Denver school. And what was happening was the teachers and administrators are basically now in charge of security. They don't have any guns, they're not armed, but apparently they were searching a student's bag and the person, and the student pulled out a gun and shot two administrators. The fallout from that is now that the citizenry of the area are outraged. And I'm gonna bring up this article, okay? After the Denver school shooting, an outcry erupts over security. Okay, let's put it in context, but outraged Denver students and parents demand better school security and pushed for tighter firearms controls Thursday after a 17-year-old student shot and wounded two administrators at a city high school beset with violence. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that coming out, but let's come down to here. This is basically, you could say it's karma, but it's also getting what you asked for. Because this community, Denver, and several others in Colorado, is one of many communities that phased out school resource officers in 2020. This is in the middle of the George Floyd protests. They shifted away from armed presence at the schools, and so basically they didn't have anybody there who could react in the same level of violence that the person was perpetrating. But this is basically getting what you asked for. You didn't want school resource officers in the school. Now you have a shooting, but now you want school resource officers. You want more armed security. It's ironic, to say the least. But another story that came up is, once again, this is from the complete failure of the justice system of this country. I'm coming into this Fox 2 news article. Jonathan Welch, man out on low bond accused of murder. He got bond after being accused of murder, is now charged with another killing. Jonathan Welch, a Detroit man who was released on a low bond after being charged with several felonies, including torture, has now been charged with a fourth murder that happened prior to his original arrest in June. Welsh was charged with Thursday with the murder of Natalia Morse, 24, whose body was found in a field on Detroit's east side on June 4th. Morse's body was originally unidentified but later confirmed. According to a release from the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office, Welsh is accused of killing Morse with blunt force trauma. So much for firearms being, this whole gun violence issue. But to her head, then stealing her car and setting it on fire. Okay, now the problem is, and I want to come down to here. Prosecutors then say 36th District Court Magistrate Dawn White set Welch's bond. His bond was $100,000, which he pays 10% off, which is $10,000. So he bonded himself out. Welch walked out of jail a few days later. His ex-girlfriend, Zalaya Fraser, was dead. He then goes out within days of being released on that bond, and he now has another 3 murders that he's being charged with. We hear all this screaming about gun violence and how the gun epidemic and everything else, yet we have a justice system that is not holding these violent criminals accountable for what they do. If you remember, New York during COVID was releasing violent felons, and within days of their release were being rearrested for more heinous crimes that they went out and committed. But they're making this a gun issue. And New York, where getting a firearm at that time was incredibly difficult for the average law-abiding person. Yet these criminals still managed to go out, procure themselves a firearm, and go right back to their trade and having to be rearrested because they wanted to be woke. I just saw these stories and I just found them to be, once again, ironic. That once again, we are ignoring the problem, which is violent individuals who we pat on the, just literally slap on the hand and release back into society, but at the same time, turning around making gun laws that have nothing to do with the criminal element and hamper good people from being able to, 1, protect themselves, and 2, to exercise their rights under the Constitution. These 2 stories are a perfect example of that ideal. But let me know what you think. As always, you can leave your comments in the comment section below. And as always, any statements of violence or statements that lead to violence will be removed. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you're notified the next time a video goes live. And I will see you on the next one. Peace.